This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 1291. 9 Simple Sleep Strategies for Busy Weightlifters, Part 1, by Freedman of BachPerformance.com. And I'm your narrator, Dr. Neal. Hey, happy Monday and welcome to another edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I read some of the best blogs covering health and fitness, just like an audiobook, and with a bit of my commentary at the end. Now don't forget, we have a bunch of shows where we do this. Just search for Optimal Living Daily to find all of them. Now today's post is a bit longer than what I typically narrate, so as usual, I'll read the first half today and then finish it up for you tomorrow. Oh, and I should mention that the title of today's post says Sleep Strategies for Busy Weightlifters, but honestly, anyone can use this advice. So with that, let's get right to part 1 as we optimize your life. 9 Simple Sleep Strategies for Busy Weightlifters, Part 1, by Freedman of BachPerformance.com. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You're a hard charger. You get up early, you stay up late, and you push yourself physically, mentally, and professionally. You rarely miss a workout, and if you had to say it, you're in better shape and more educated about fitness than most people. When it comes to nutrition, you're pretty good too. Yeah, you enjoy a good cocktail or 3. You occasionally treat yourself to fall off the bone baby back ribs, a succulent steak, or a gourmet pizza. But most of the time, you're dialed in. Still, despite nailing your nutrition, training hard, and staying consistent, you haven't been able to lose the last bit of fat hanging onto your hips or lower belly with a death grip that would make Sly Stallone jealous and cliffhanger. So, you scour the web in search of the answer. What the hell am I doing wrong? The answer may surprise you. It's sleep. Whether you're trying to drop fat and look your best for the warm months, peak for a show, or just lose a few pounds, sleep is often the missing piece. Sleep is the ultimate force multiplier for health and performance. It optimizes every mental and physiological system you need to look, feel, and perform your best. Sure, you're busy and short nights are often par for the course, but the fact remains you won't optimize your physique or anything else without proper sleep. What happens when you don't get enough sleep? Every day without sleep is like lacking a savings account and buying everything on credit. Scrimping on sleep to #grind or watch the #FitFam puts you further in debt every day. A lack of sleep significantly increases your chance of developing type 2 diabetes and obesity. Even moderate sleep deprivation significantly impairs insulin sensitivity in just 1 week. This makes it much harder to lose stubborn fat and build muscle. So much for looking great naked. Don't look for fat loss supplements or miracle diets to lose fat. Go to bed. 5 hours of sleep per night for 1 week can reduce testosterone levels by as much as 10 to 15%. This is insane when you consider the average rate of testosterone reduction is 1 to 2% per year on average. Reduced testosterone impairs your ability to lose fat, decreases your energy, decreases your ability to build muscle, decreases your focus, which can cost you money, and decreases libido. Sleep deprivation has been shown to decrease reaction time, attention span, recall skills, long-term memory, visual motor performance, logical reasoning, and basically every other cognitive skill imaginable. Skipping sleep decreases your ability to do everything at optimal capacity. Don't waste your money on worthless testosterone boosters. Please go to bed. It's obvious. Yet too many people, myself included, devote too little attention to getting adequate sleep. Keep listening to find out how to get the sleep you need. Tip number 1. Keep consistent hours. The best way to sleep well consistently is to keep consistent hours. Your body thrives with a consistent circadian rhythm, our internal 24-hour cycle of biochemical, physiological, and behavioral processes. As crazy as it sounds, your body tends to release certain chemicals during certain times per day to trigger alertness, optimize function, and in the evening, help you relax. If you go to bed at 11 p.m. during the week and wake up at 6:30 a.m., do the same thing on the weekends. Yes, it will take an adjustment. Yes, it will suck at first. Deal with it. It'll be well worth your time when you end up sleeping, performing, and looking better as a result. Tip number 2, get sunlight early in the morning. I use an alarm with an ascending volume setting, meaning it gets louder the longer I lay in bed. The problem? As soon as it mutters a peep, my 2-year-old pup wakes up and snuggles his way into my bed. If there was ever a reason to hit snooze, this is it. But have you noticed what happens when you hit snooze and roll over in bed? It's nearly impossible to get up and get going full throttle. You generally fall in and out of sleep and finally wake up and groggily race the clock all morning. Instead of drifting back to sleep in a dark room and a warm bed, get up right away. Get outside and get a few minutes of natural sunlight if you can. Getting sunlight early in the morning signals your body systems to wake up, producing the hormones you need to optimize your circadian rhythms and energize you naturally. Get up and get natural sunlight for a few minutes each morning, even if it's simply taking your pooch out to the bathroom. Tip number 3, avoid caffeine after noon. At Bach Performance, my fellow coach Jordan Pagel and I love caffeine as much as you do. The only problem? Caffeine can hang around in your blood system much longer than you think. According to the book Sleep Smarter by Sean Stevenson, the half-life of caffeine is between 5 and 8 hours. This means as many as 8 hours after your last coffee, half of the caffeine can still be circulating in your system. Therefore, 100 milligrams of the 200 milligram shot of adrenaline you guzzled at noon could be floating around your body at around 8 p.m. Sure, this is helpful during a busy day, but at night, not so much. Avoid caffeinated drinks after 12 p.m. Besides, it's normal not to be wired all the time. You're not a robot. Avoid the late afternoon Americano, and you'll find yourself resting much easier at night. You'll also begin having more energy throughout the day and no longer need the afternoon jolt. Tip number 4. Hear that on tomorrow's episode. You just listened to part 1 of the post titled 9 Simple Sleep Strategies for Busy Weightlifters by Daniel Freedman of BachPerformance.com. And thank you to NetGear. Is your Wi-Fi struggling to keep up with your streaming, work, gaming, video calling, and more? What about all at once? When you're connected to your world by Wi-Fi, be sure it's the best. Bring your Wi-Fi up to speed with Orbi Wi-Fi 6 from NetGear. Orbi Wi-Fi 6 is the best and latest in Wi-Fi. It covers your entire home with unmatched speeds and performance for uninterrupted working and learning, video calling, and streaming at home on more devices than ever before in any part of the house. With Wi-Fi this advanced, you're going to want it everywhere. Ready for the best Wi-Fi ever? Find out what makes NetGear America's #1 choice for Wi-Fi at netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. That's netgear.com/best Wi-Fi. And I have that linked in this episode's description. Dr. Neal here for my commentary. Now I know that listening to all the negative effects of missing out on sleep may make you miss out on sleep tonight because you're thinking about all the sleep you're missing. And that's perfectly normal, but hopefully it won't happen to you. I don't want you to overstress about missing sleep. But I do want to mention something about tip number 2 that Daniel shared. He mentioned getting exposure to sunlight as soon as you wake up. Exposure to light or sunlight as soon as you wake up is a pretty powerful technique to help you get going in the mornings. In fact, a new generation of alarm clocks incorporate this very idea. The current alarm clock you're using probably wakes you up with a jarring sound, unless you have an alarm clock like Daniel's where it slowly increases the volume. But now, there are alarm clocks that use light to wake you up instead. Now, I should mention a quick disclaimer. I am not sponsored by any alarm clock company, so I do not receive any compensation for talking about this. I don't want you to think I'm biased. All right, back to what I was saying. Our bodies are primed to wake when exposed to light. So when it's time to wake up, the clock fills the room with the slow, pulsating light. Now, this type of alarm will only work if you're sleeping in a dark room and you're not covering your eyes with a sleep mask. But if you do use a sleep mask, that's perfectly fine. It's probably because you're sensitive to light and it's helping you get a better night's sleep. So in this situation, a traditional alarm that wakes you with sound would be best. But If you don't use a sleep mask and are tired of waking up to a jarring sound or an alarm that gets louder and louder, there may be other options available to you. All right, that should do it. Thank you so much for listening today. Thank you for listening every day. I'll be back here tomorrow to finish up this post, so I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.